Hey there. Today I'm going to take you through a little quick demo involving custom targeting attributes. So what you're looking at right now is a pretty bare bones builder space. We've got two models, page and section. Page has one page in it called home, and section has one page or one section in it called dinnerware banner. This space is connected to a Shopify store that I've created as a demo. Here's what it looks like. We've got three products, and yeah, so this is connected to our space using the official Builder Shopify integration. So the reason why I'm talking about Shopify and why it's integrated is because this is a great example of how to use a custom targeting attribute. The Shopify plugin provides custom attribute types, targeting attribute types, so that you can target stuff like Shopify products or Shopify collections. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So if I head over to account, this is where you set up custom targeting attributes. I hit edit, and I can add as many targeting attributes as I want. Right now I have one called product, and from this dropdown you can select whatever type that you want. Most targeting attributes are going to be string or Boolean, and you'll see why in a second. But you can go ahead and if you have a custom type like Shopify product, you can select that. We're using Shopify product handle because what's going to get passed to the server, to our backend, after we integrate this builder space with our code base, is going to be some kind of representation of our rich data type that we select for our custom targeting attribute. It's not like it's going to send over the entire JSON structure of a Shopify product. Rather, it's going to be something representing that product. In this case, handles are really easy for us to work with. So we're going to select Shopify product handle. Okay, I hit save. Now, how do we use this? Well, let's go back to content. And let's go back to our page. Now, on our home page, this is super bare bones. Of course, it just says test 1, 2, 3. But we can actually insert something like, let's say, an announcement bar that will appear if we're looking at a particular type of product. So if you go over to the Layers tab, you'll notice that in addition to test 1, 2, 3, I have a component called a symbol. A symbol is just simply a way of adding content from another page or another section into your page or section. It's a way of reusing content in Builder inside of other content in Builder. When I hit edit, you'll see that I can select a model. Now, that model is going to represent the model from which we're pulling our content. I've selected section. Now you see this little Boolean switch here, the dynamic. If I unselect dynamic, then I have to pick a specific content entry from my section model to display. And I only have one right now. It's the dinnerware banner that we had already looked at before. So if I select that, then boom, it shows you've added some dinnerware. Now, the issue here is that this is static. It's just always going to display the same thing. You've added some dinnerware, no matter what page we're on, what product we're looking at, or whatever. So instead, we can set dynamic. When we set dynamic, it's going to use the dinnerware banners custom targeting attributes to determine whether it should appear or not. So how does that work? Well, let's take a look at our dinnerware banner. I'm clicking back and I'm going to my section content and I'm selecting dinnerware banner. So in this section, we can see the content that we added. You've added some dinnerware. Now, when I select edit targeting in the top bar, nav bar, you can see here that I have different targeting attributes. Normally, most content will just simply use URL-based targeting. And you can see that when I hit target, and then I select URL path, That's kind of like the default thing to do. So let's get rid of this first targeting attribute. Let's say that I was to have something like, say, I don't know, aqua dinnerware 12-piece set. This would display our banner whenever the URL path was / aqua dinnerware 12-piece set. The issue with this is that it's a little bit clunky. It's hardwired to this particular path. And while your handle might actually be aqua dash dinnerware dash 12 dash piece dash set, that's a lot to type out. Especially if you have a team of people and you're going to be having non-technical people who don't necessarily know what a handle is. They just want to be able to click and select a product and say, let's target that. And even if they do know what the handle is, data entry errors can always crop up when you're hard coding paths. So let's remove this targeting attribute and replace it with a custom targeting attribute that's based on our product. Remember this product attribute? This is what we set up in the account menu. So when I select product and then I click choose product, here I can select aqua glaze 12-piece dinnerware set. And by the way, it's pulling these entries from Shopify. That's what the Shopify integration does. Okay, great. So I've selected this. We don't need to update anything, click publish, because it was already like this before. So how does this work now? How do we put these two things together? This step requires some coding integration. So what I'm going to load right now is, let's see if we can make this maximized, and great. This is a instance of Next.js. This is just a very simple Next.js project that I spun up using Create Next app, just for the purposes of demonstrating this, how custom targeting attributes work. I'm just going to skim over this, but the basic idea is that we are going to be rendering inside of this React component called myComponent two builder components. One is going to be for our page. Sorry, this is wrong. There we go. We're going to be rendering one builder component, and it's going to be for our page, right? So we get the content for that page at build time when we statically render our pages using Next.js build, and that comes here when we call the builder SDK.get, and then we get the page, and we get the page for the URL / that's the root, and that gets our content. We also pull this variable product from the URL path. So we pass those to our component, and then we render the page on line 14 with builder component inside of our React hierarchy, our DOM, and we call this method set user attributes between lines 6 and 8. And what that does is it sets the targeting attributes that we want to surface to our content, both to our page and to the symbol that is on that page. Because remember, we set our symbol to be dynamic, so it's going to forward whatever user attributes that we're setting, or rather whatever custom rendering targeting attributes that we set to that symbol. So here we say product is equal to props.product. Remember, props.product we're setting from the page path parameters. And yeah, so that should render our section. So let's see how this works. If we go to home, notice that we're at / aqua-glaze -12-piece dinnerware-set. This is the handle of the product, the Shopify product that we targeted inside of our section. Just to show you, to remind you what that was, I'm going back to section, I'm clicking on dinnerware banner, and remember this targeting attribute, when we selected from the menu, Aqua Glaze 12-piece dinnerware set, the handle of this Shopify product is aqua-glaze-12-piece-dinnerware-set, which we are passing in through our URL path. It comes in to the server then sets this. Actually, this is set on the client side using builder.setUserAttributes, and product is the name of our targeting attribute. We set it to that path, which is the same, equivalent to the Shopify product handle. And then when we render the page, the dynamic symbol on that page knows to render our section, that is our announcement header, because it matches the URL path. Just to show you, like if I were to just type in some gibberish here in the URL path, you'll notice that our section doesn't get rendered inside of that symbol. Why? Because this is not equal to the target that we set. Okay, that's a really quick overview of, I should also add that we did this demonstration using Shopify products that are coming from the plugin, but of course you can set whatever custom targeting attribute type that you want. So going back to the account page, if I go to account and then I say custom targeting attributes, just remember I can add anything here, right? So for example, if we said test, we call this an attribute, and we could leave it as a string, right? Then let's hit save. Let's go back and let's copy that gibberish that I had entered, right? So like this. And let's go back to content section. Let's create a new section. We'll call this section gibberish, and I'll add some text. And I'll say this product is gibberish. And then I'll set the targeting attribute here so that the new targeting attribute we added, test, is equal to this. So if we pass in if we pass in this value as test, then this will appear inside of our symbol. Let's hit publish. Great. Now let's refresh, and what do you think will happen? It didn't work. Why? Well, we have to update our set user attributes options object inside of the code, right? So if we say, where was this? Here we go. So let's add the test attribute, test props.product. And then now we hit refresh. You can see it says this product is gibberish, right? So that's a quick demonstration of how custom targeting attributes work. And yes, please ask us if you have any other questions. Thanks.